Well, howdy there, Internet students. Mr. Hermanson again. We're doing a little more on lesson 6.1e. Today we're going to put it all together, use a distributive property, and combining like terms to simplify expressions. So you will have to figure out whether you need to use a distributive property or not. Notice on this one that there's a 6 outside the parentheses. That one you have to get rid of the parentheses first. So you're just going to rewrite it using the distributive property. Now, here's how we learned how to multiply those. In case you forgot, you would put the 6 there, the x and the 1 there, and then do your multiplication tables. 6 times x and 6 times 1. And so you would write 6 plus 6x plus 6 here. The other way you can remember is just remember to multiply this by both things or all things inside the parentheses. All right, now you're going to combine like terms. The 2x and the 6x makes 8x, and the 5 and the 6 together make 11. And then you're all done. Okay, on this one, the parentheses really aren't doing anything. You can ignore them. Or you can always think of that there's an invisible 1 being multiplied if you want. And that would really come in handy if there was a minus 1 in front of that. But basically we just need to combine like terms. So the 2x and the 6x together make 8x. And the 5 and the 1 make 6. All right? Sometimes you'll need to catch the term, including a subtraction sign, before you distribute it. So this is the trickiest part, the part where students make the most mistakes. If there's a minus in front, that is the same as this, x plus negative 2, x plus 3. And so when you do the distributive property for this, you would want to use a negative 2 out here, and then an x and a 3 in here. So you would get negative 2x, and negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. So you are going to get x plus negative 2x, or x minus 2x. I like to write it as simple as possible. And then you have a minus 6. So you can put plus negative 6 or minus 6. And now you're going to combine like terms right there. Remember the invisible 1 here. So you have 1x minus 2x, or 1 plus negative 2, which makes a negative 1x. I'm running out of room here, so I'm going to write it up here. Negative 1x. And then you have a minus 6 left over. So these two combine into negative 1. Then you have a minus 6. Now, if you were to put this answer in a Google form, I would want it simplified a little more. That 1 can be invisible, so we would just write negative x minus 6 for our answer. All right, I'll get you started on this one, and then the last one I'll let you do on your own, but we have to distribute this part right here. When you do that distribution, use a negative 2 because there's a minus 2 in front of it, and an n plus 5. And then multiply negative 2 times n, and negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. So when you rewrite this without parentheses, you're going to have 3n, then you're going to have minus 2n, then you're going to have minus 10. Now, go ahead and do the rest, combine like terms, see if you get it right. All right, you might have wrote 1n, but remember that 1 can be invisible, so I just wrote n minus 10. That would be simplest form. All right, try the third one. Do all the work on your own, see if you get it right. All right, so here's what I got for that one. Now, if you just have a number out front, like this 3 here, that 3 needs to be multiplied by everything inside there. And you can certainly use a area model to do that. You would just have 3 parts. So you would have the 3 there, x, 6y, and then negative 7. Make sure you have a negative there. And so you would do 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 6y is 18y, and 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And then you would write that 3x plus 18y minus 21. You try the next one. Did you get plus 28? You should have, because you have a negative 7 here times a negative 4 there. All right. On these last two, you're going to have to do the distributive property. So 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times 7 is 28. And then you're going to have to simplify because you have like terms here. This minus 5x and this 12x makes 7x plus 28. Go ahead, you try number 4. Make sure to use negative 2 here when you're multiplying. So in your multiplication table, you would have negative 4x here and 5 here. And then you're multiplying those by negative 2. Here's what I got for that one. All right. Subtraction is actually the place where students make the most mistakes. Notice this one doesn't have any subtraction, so that one's pretty straightforward. If you want to think of a 1 out there, you can, but you don't need to, because when you multiply something by 1, it's just that. Now we need to multiply 2 times 3x, which is 6x. Eventually you should get away from doing the multiplication diagrams. Use them as much as you need them to help you, but hopefully you're starting to get the idea that you're just multiplying this 2 that's outside the parentheses times both the objects inside the parentheses, both terms. So you get 2, and then you can simplify that. On the second one here, make sure you are multiplying by negative 2. So we're going to put negative 2 out here and 3x and 1 in here. And so we get negative 6x and we get negative 2 here. This is probably where students will make the most mistakes right there. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So we get negative 6x minus 2. I'll let you finish simplifying those by combining like terms. As you can see from that example, that subtraction makes a big difference. All right, so and when you have a subtraction in front of parentheses, you're going to think about the invisible 1 there when you simplify that. So think of multiplying right here, negative 1 times 4x plus 1. So when you make your diagram, put a negative 1 on the outside when you see a minus in front of it, because you have to distribute that negative inside there. So that's going to make the 4x a negative 4x, and that's going to make the 1 a negative 1. So you get 7x minus 3 minus 4x minus 1. Notice that both parts of this are getting subtracted because of that negative 1. When you don't have a negative in there, nothing happens because you're just multiplying. If you want to think of an invisible 1, go ahead. But multiplying 1 times any number is just that number. Go ahead and finish simplifying up both of those. There you go. So when there's a subtraction sign between the expressions, you must think of distributing a negative 1. So all these problems are like that. I'll do the first one for you. If you don't want to draw the diagram, what I would think of is I need to take So there's an invisible 1 here. I'll put it in there. I'm going to take negative 1 times 2n, which is negative 2n. And I'm going to take negative 1 times 1, which is negative 1, and write it like that. 6n minus 2n is 4n. Negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. So I'll start this for you. Now distribute the negative 1. So multiply both parts of that by negative 1. And then continue simplifying. I'm going to give you the answers to these so you can check your work. On the last problem, did you notice the double negative there? Which makes this a plus. All right. I think we're ready for you to do some homework. Go ahead and do your work on this page and then submit your answers on the Google form. We'll talk to you soon.